Hi, Dr. Dan Miller. We are Pro Football Week 5. Pro Football and America 250. Welcome to Week 5. We got a close up here, right? And you know what? Got to bring in here the old photo from the prehistoric days. Yeah, that's me in the picture. Yes, I caught the pass. I think we won that game. This is at Knightstown High School. I was a junior wide receiver. Um, Played wide receiver all along. It was a lot of fun and a very impactful part of my life that still resonates with me down to today. Welcome, Week 5, Pro Football and America 250. Let's go. Well, what a weekend. We're gonna do a point and a twist, a point and a twist. We'll pick it up as we go. What a crazy Week 5 in the NFL that we just wrapped up last night. I'm talking to you, hanging out with you here on a Tuesday morning. Tremendous Chiefs Jaguars game. We had several teams over Sunday that came from double-digit deficits, double-digit deficits, and ended up winning. The Colts, where I am, 4-1. Who would have thought it? 4-1 Colts. Is it a 4-1 Jaguars too? I should have checked that before I said it. I think it kind of is. I believe. If you would have predicted that, you'd have been, 6 weeks ago, back as preseason's wrapping up. If you'd predicted that, people would have said you're high. I'm not a high guy, but I never predicted it. So I'm high on enthusiasm today for that outcome for the Colts. Let's get into our story from 250 and Week 5. I want to focus on special teams. Special teams have been a big part of the NFL season as we wrap up Week 5, including the fifth week, including last night. Some of this is rules changes. Kickoffs are different than they used to be. That's a positive. I think a surprising positive that the rules change turned out so good as far as the game's concerned. Last night, you'll hear a lot of commentary about Patrick Mahomes and about Trevor Lawrence, all of which is justified. They're key components of that game and how the game turned out. I also would say special teams deserve to be talked about too, especially in terms of the Chiefs' loss. They had a player commit 2 holding penalties on special teams duties, but each of which really hurt them in different ways at different moments. And then I think that final drive that ended up being the game winner for the Jaguars, I believe that started out at the 40-yard line because Harrison Butker, the place kicker, kickoff dude for the Chiefs, sailed it out of bounds, and they, according to the rules, got it up at the 40, really shortened the field up for Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguar offense. That's a big key reason why they win. Special teams are making a big impact this season. So let's talk a little bit about special teams and Coach Washington. Remember, it's Coach George Washington. He's in charge of the Continentals football franchise. The ownership is in Philadelphia. It's community owned up and down the coast. However, the front office is in Philadelphia with the Second Continental Congress. GM, player personnel, and so forth. Let's talk about Coach Washington as we get into Week 5 and his special teams. 250 years ago right now, the week wrapping up October 2nd, in the fifth week, their fifth week, he is looking at a special teams moment. And remember what we're talking about here. Point with a twist. So the point, he's sending out an order, and he's been told this by the front office. Send out an order. It looks like we're going to be there all winter outside of Boston. So we need the team to feel like they're cared for, to feel secure, warm, healthy, all of that, because it's New England, a New England winter coming on, and so that's not just going to happen in a tent. That's going to have to happen in wooden huts. So, General Coach, send the orders out. Let's start getting huts built, constructed for their use across the winter season by the team. So Washington is starting the wheels grinding on doing that. So who are the special teams, or who's part of the special teams for Washington? The Carpenters. So the Carpenters are going to be getting orders. Those orders are being written right now, 250 years ago. They're going to be getting orders. You got to go in Get your hammers, get your axes, get your shovels, get your saws, get your butts off the bench. You're going in to start building huts for the soldiers to use, the team to use as the winter starts to set in our encirclement of Boston. Special teams. If he doesn't have the carpenters, there's no huts. So he's reliant on those guys. Now, are they going to pick up guns and so on? Are they going to be involved in combat? Probably not. But do we need them right now? We absolutely do. So they may not get the headlines. They may not get all the pats on the back like the offense, the defense does. But my God, it's an important function. So let's get going. Let's get those huts underway. I'd love to be a carpenter or hanging out with the carpenters when that order comes in. We'll talk about that again here in a minute if I can remember to do so. So remember, point with a twist. This is the point. Washington has to turn to his special teams to perform a very important function here as we start week 5. The twist. What I've just told you actually points to something much bigger. And if you don't know it, that's no big deal. But here's the bigger point. It's not just about the cold. It's because it's clear now by week 5 that our strategy has changed. We're not going to be able, and remember Washington brought the coaching staff and the team captains together a couple weeks ago. I think it was around week 3. Hey, let's talk about can we do a direct attack? Can we do a frontal attack? Can we go right after him in an attack? And the consensus was, nope, not going to do it. Well, what do? We don't just disband. The team stays together. The team's still a team. We're going to have to besiege them. Siege, S-I-E-G-E, besiege. That means we're going to starve them out. We're going to be in our huts at night. But we're going to come out of the huts during the winter's days, and we're going to keep them surrounded. We're going to keep things from going in there, and we're going to try to starve them out, force them out. Maybe they'll surrender. The other team, we're talking about the Redcoats. Maybe they'll surrender Boston. Maybe they'll evacuate Boston. We want to get Boston. That's the victory for us, and we're going to have to besiege them. Now, Washington hates that outcome. He much prefers a strategy of direct aggression, action, motion, power, all of those kinds of things. He much prefers the offense and the defense. We're going to throw the ball downfield. We're going to run it down their throats. We're going to sack the quarterback. We're going to blitz, all the other kinds of stuff that offenses and defenses do. That's his life. That's what he wants to do as a soldier. He has no experience in sieges. On top of that, so it runs against his personal outlook. It runs, number 1. It runs against his experience, number 2. And the number 3, it plays to their strength. It plays to their culture. Sieges are a European thing. Sieges of castles, of fortresses, of da-da-da-da-da. Sieges have their own literature to them that's essentially geometry and mathematics, lines and angles and distances. That's what sieges are. It's not this. Catching a pass beautifully, I might add. It's not this. It's digging trenches, keeping people warm, keeping them fed as we get the trenches closer and closer and closer to the enemy in the hopes that they just give up and leave or surrender. So a change in strategy now is happening. So when we talk about the order was given, get the carpenters off their butts and let's start building huts for the winter, that's your point, we're also talking about the twist of strategy now. So here's just something macro, and I'll get out of your way. And remember I told you I'd love to be the carpenter. Can you imagine? There's 2 people who are basically saying right now. One's Washington. Now, he's not saying it, but he's feeling it. I don't want to be doing this. I want to go at him. The other people that are saying it, the carpenters, probably. All right, let's go. Let's go. I'd rather build a door or build something, build a wall, or but we got to start cranking out these huts. Let's go. All's coming down to us. Let's go. So it's not exactly a happy outcome. I also want to throw one other thing in here to you. Remember, we've been talking about discipline in weeks 3 and 4. Well, that's putting a bunch of load onto discipline to just sit there throughout the winter and not have there be problems with a lack of discipline. All right, what's a macro thing? For fans, for coaches, for players, from Coach Washington from week 5. Here it is. What happens when something forces you off of your true and organic and natural strength and preference and ability? Washington believes all three of those things point to direct combat, direct assaults, direct action on the battlefield. They do not point to sieges. And yet, the weather got the vote. The season got the vote. The snow and the ice got the vote. And they told Washington, baby, sit down, it's a siege. So how are you going to approach it and embrace it and adapt to it when, whatever the reason is, you're forced off of that first strategy you love to do? So, I'm Dan Miller. This has been Week 5, Pro Football and America 250. Hang in there. Hope you see you back for next week for Week 6. Should be a great week coming. We're going to kick it off, on Thursday, I guess. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.